I'd be happy to yield 5 minutes if the senator would like more at the end of that time. You only need to ask. Senator Sanders.
I thank the chairman for yielding, and I want to congratulate him and his staff for the excellent work they've done on this budget, which I certainly will be voting for. Mr. President, what I wanted to do is to take a brief moment to highlight a provision in this budget resolution that I introduced along with Senators Feingold, Webb, and Bunning. And that deals with the outrage that exists in our country at what happened last year and this year on Wall Street. And I think, as most Americans know, as a result of the greed, the recklessness, the illegal behavior that we have seen within some of our largest financial institutions, our country, and in fact much of the world, has been plunged into a very, very deep recession, which has cost millions of Americans their jobs, their homes, their savings, and their ability to get a higher education. A lot of people are suffering because of the greed and recklessness of Wall Street. In my view, the deregulatory efforts of the last several decades, which I strongly opposed as a member of the House Financial Services Committee, have proven to be a grotesque failure. The bottom line is that when you deregulate Wall Street, they do what we would expect that they do. They do anything and everything they can to make as much profit as they can in as short a period of time as they can, no matter how recklessly they behave. And in the process, they create a bubble, and when that bubble bursts, as it surely would, the American people are left holding the bag in the midst of a very deep recession. In my view, it goes without saying that we must restore regulation to Wall Street. And one part of that process is to bring about substantially increased transparency. It is beyond comprehension, it is absurd, that trillions of dollars in credit default swaps and other exotic and complicated financial instruments are traded every single day with no public understanding about who owns these instruments or the impact that this trading is having on the world's financial system. Now, I am happy to note that as one small step forward in terms of transparency, this budget resolution incorporates a provision that passed the Senate by a 59-39 strongly bipartisan vote. And what that amendment does is quite simple. It addresses the reality that in the midst of this financial crisis, the Federal Reserve has lent out over $2 trillion to financial institutions. And if you were to ask the American people, if you were to ask any member of this Senate, any member of the House, who received that money, which financial institutions got it, and what the terms are that they received it, nobody would be able to tell you. No one in this country understands it because that has been kept secret. And what the provision that I introduced into the budget resolution does is simply say, we have got to make that public. The American people have a right to know who is getting those loans and what the terms are. I am delighted that that provision is in the budget resolution. In my view, this is a small step forward in fighting for transparency within the Fed. It is a smaller step forward overall in beginning the reform measures that we need to create a new Wall Street so that never again will we be placed in the position that we have been over the last few months. Having said that, Mr. President, I would yield the floor and once again thank the chairman for his hard work and for his yielding.